From the elite competitions to the grassroots, sporting competitions across Australia are all feeling the impacts of coronavirus.
It's come to this.
There you have it. The balls are washed once they go over the fence.
Extraordinary measures in uncertain times.
I can't stress enough that our game has never faced a challenge like this.
The League has commissioned a biosecurity expert and pandemic expert and is seeking government assistance to avoid catastrophe.
And I'll leave you with this. An Australia without rugby league is not Australia.
There's been a massive exodus of Matildas stars from soccer's W League. They've been leaving to play in England, but a former Matilda is concerned about the impact it could have on the competition here.
The Matildas have become a dominant force in the world game. Now a growing number of players are being snapped up by England's top flight competition.
Binding cat! And she opens up her WSL accounts.
It's a new challenge. I think challenge is good, and if anything, it's challenging me mentally.
It's not just Sam Kerr. We talk about a golden generation. There's a whole host of players in this generation, but also the next.
Caitlin Ford, Chloe Lagazzo and Hayley Razzo have recently moved to England, along with uncapped teenager Jacinta Galabadaracici.
A short time ago, India was at 2 for 43. Our reporter Daniela Intili is at the Sydney Showground Stadium. Danny, this is a big challenge for Australia.
It is, and Jez, a bit of a mixed start. 2 drop catches in the first 2 overs, but it's good to see that Australia did get those 2 wickets. Australia is, of course, the defending champion, the #1 ranked side and tournament favourite. But if there's a team that can derail Australia's hopes of winning a 5th World Cup, it is India. The big news, of course, will be Alyssa Healy, the opener, and she has been struggling of late. She hasn't reached double figures in her last 6 innings, but she is the world's best T20 player, and so there'll be plenty of hype when she comes out later tonight.
Daniela Intili at the Sydney Showground.
Bridie Sewell was born with a large tumour inside her spinal cord. She had emergency surgery when she was just 3 days old.
They didn't really know what her future would be like.
Bridie went on to defy medical expectations.
Take a deep breath, mate, over the top of this hill.
She made history as the youngest athlete to finish the Ausday 10K race after a big fall.
How does it make you feel?
Pretty amazing, the first little one to do it.
The 9-year-old is now working towards her next goal.
I want to go to Paris in 4 years' time and be a Paralympian.
Danny, what's the latest on Tarek Sims?
We need to. Tarek Sims arrived here about half an hour ago. The Blues and Dragons forward will plead not guilty to dangerous contact on North Queensland's Michael Morgan. If he wins, he gets to play in the Origin decider next week. If he loses, he's likely to be rubbed out for 3 games. Folau now has 48 hours to respond and request a code of conduct hearing. It's expected he'll challenge Rugby Australia's decision, citing religious grounds and freedom of speech.
The greatest of all time. Winks wins her 3rd. Queen Elizabeth beats Kluger.
Well, we've just witnessed sporting greatness, and it's hard not to get caught up in the joy and emotion of what truly is a fairy tale ending for this wonder mare.
Jasmine McQuarkadale was 9 years old when she first picked up a surfboard.
And just from then, I've always loved it.
Now 16, she's the Australian Women's Indigenous Surfing Champion. Next month, the teenager will trade the waves of Avoca Beach for the big breaks of Hawaii, alongside 3-time world champion Carissa Moore.
With surfing set to make its Olympic debut next year at the Tokyo Games, there's even more motivation for these young surfers to one day showcase their Indigenous heritage on the world's biggest stage. Sarah Coit was living her dream. The talented all-rounder has won World Cups with the Southern Stars and the Ashes, but her success on the field was in stark contrast to the struggles in her private life.
It's weird because you think you're like in a good place to talk about it, then you go down memory lane.
This Southern star was in the grip of anorexia and on a path of self-destruction.
Anorexia nervosa has the highest fatality rate of any mental illness. Athletes are twice as likely to develop an eating disorder because of their drive to succeed. The last time I went to driving school, I was 16 years old. It was just before I got my licence. Let's just say it was a long time ago. So the team thought it was time I head back. but to no ordinary driving school, Porsche Driving School. We've experienced 4 seasons in a day and it's still pretty cosy in here. But Buonanotte isn't just for kids, with tweens, teens, even adults glamping out.